From last week, I talked about our 20-week, 4-phase Slingshot Back marketing plan. If you want this thing, you can now go watch this a la carte. bit.ly/SB20Sling. And again, I'm going to send this link out here in just a few minutes. The practices that implement these strategies are going to be the ones that slingshot back. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anybody else does either. But those doctors and practices that can pivot quickly are going to be the ones that thrive. And for the rest of the practices that have a lot of certainty, the practices that are unwilling to admit that maybe they don't have all the answers, the Warren Buffett quote is going to be in full effect. When the tide goes out, you're going to see who's been swimming naked. When this thing opens back up, you're going to see who's been swimming naked. Let me tell you some really, really interesting shit that's happened lately. Richard Branson is no longer a billionaire. In 2 weeks, Richard Branson, Virgin everything, he went from being a billionaire to not. Richard Branson right now is looking for a lender to loan him money on his private Necker Island down in the Caribbean. Necker Island is the last asset that Richard Branson has that is unencumbered, that's unmortgaged. And he's looking for somebody to loan him money. Oil right now is at negative $37 a barrel for next month in the futures. The owner, let me give you some more. This you may not know this. The owner of the Houston Rockets is worth $4.4 billion. He's one of Forbes 400 richest Americans. If you looked at him a month or two ago, you would have thought that Richard Branson and the owner of the Houston Rockets had life by the tail, and they were just killing it. Right now, the owner of the Houston Rockets, who's got a name I can't pronounce, he's trying to raise $250 million from private investors. He's willing to pay 15% interest, and he's willing to let you deduct the first interest payment from the first month from your capital contribution that you're putting in. No banks will loan him money. He's worth $4.4 billion, and he's completely cash poor. He has no cash, and he needs to raise $250 million in the private market in order to pay his bills right now. Unbelievable what's going on right now. Let me ask you a question. What decisions would you have made 9 to 12 months ago to mitigate the pain that you're now suffering if you knew this was going to happen? That's the question I'm asking right now. What would you do differently? What would you have done differently 9 to 12 months ago if you had known this was going to happen? What would Richard Branson have done differently 9 to 12 months ago? What would the owner of the Houston Rockets have done differently 9 to 12 months ago? Well, I tell you, they would have a lot of cash. And they would have made some different decisions regarding their lifestyle, around their practices, around their businesses. This glass ceiling of businesses being shut down has been broken. And as these localized hotspots, which are going to reoccur, we've seen it happen in all the other countries, where they shut down and then they open up, and then the pandemic comes out again, and they have to shut places down again. These stay-at-home orders and this government shutdown is going to reoccur. So let me ask you that question a different way. What decisions do you need to make today to accommodate the second shutdown in 9 to 12 months? I think if you can answer that question and you can look in the mirror, that is a really, really important question to figure out. If 9 to 12 months ago you would have made different decisions, then what are you doing today? Because this thing is going to happen in another 9 to 12 months. And it's going to happen whether you're still doing what you're doing. It's going to happen independent of any decisions you make. And you know what? If it doesn't happen and I'm wrong, I'll be on this podcast and I'll say I'm wrong. and then you'll be in a better position than you thought you were going to be in. Right?